Sex at Dawn: How We Mate, Why We Stray, and What It Means for Modern Relationships, by Christopher Ryan and Cacilda Jethá, published in 2010. Sex at Dawn details how the courtship habits of humanity's closest primate relatives, the lives of early humans, and the sexual rituals of nomadic tribes all shed light on the true urges underlying human sexuality. Many anthropologists assert that monogamy comes naturally to humans. To support their thesis, they point toward relationship customs that have existed in various civilizations for centuries. Authors Christopher Ryan and Cacilda Jethá, however, argue that factors like divorce and infidelity rates indicate that lifelong sexual exclusivity is not innate. Humans are wired to sexually bond with multiple partners, a primal urge that's reflected in the type of porn that people gravitate to, in the way that arousal is expressed in men and women, and in the sexual customs of foraging tribes still operating throughout the world. In prehistoric societies, polyamory promoted social bonding, lowered the negative effects of jealousy, and provided new parents with ample communal support for raising any children that result from sexual encounters. By learning about the sexual practices of early humans and their close relatives, one can better understand some common problems that plague relationships. In much of the Western world, the general public and modern scientists hold a common theory on how human sexuality developed. The theory asserts that men and women, driven by evolution, use conflicting standards to evaluate a potential mate's suitability. A woman looks for a man who can provide for her and her offspring, while a man looks for a fertile woman who can help him continue his genetic legacy. According to this model, called the standard narrative, men and women have an inherent reason to enforce their partner's sexual exclusivity. A man gains the assurance that any children resulting from the union are his offspring, while a woman secures a lifelong companion who delivers protection. The standard narrative, however, falls apart upon closer examination because it relies on false assumptions about the lives of early humans. For example, under the standard narrative, an unfaithful man cheats on his partner with a new woman because it affords him the chance to spread his genes. Adulterous women seek out men who are genetically superior to their husbands, in hopes of creating healthier children while still retaining a capable provider and partner. Both spouses in this model should guard each other with some level of jealousy, since scarcity would make finding a new mate difficult for humanity's ancestors. This explanation of human sexual behavior, however, only works if early humans wandered in an environment of restricted resources. Instead, the lives and habits of primitive tribes indicate that foraging provided plenty of food. There was no reason to squabble over or hoard resources, including sexual partners. Furthermore, the standard narrative requires the man to care about whether his partner's offspring are biologically his, an idea known as paternity certainty. In most early human civilizations, male tribe members did not care about whether they were a biological parent. In fact, they didn't have a concept for a two-parent household, instead being accustomed to a communal fatherhood system in which all of the village's males contribute to a child's growth. All the women in such a society would similarly serve as mothers to all offspring. The idea of a child belonging to any one couple would have been an absurd concept to early humanity, and remains a laughable idea to the tribes who still maintain pre-agricultural practices. If scientists are willing to re-examine the standard narrative, they will find explanations that more fully fit the polyamorous habits of humanity's closest relatives, as well as its earliest communities. Monogamy may feel natural because it is culturally reinforced, but humans at their core will likely still crave sexual variety and multi-partner relationships, even if only in their fantasies. Key insights. 1. Anthropologists often mistakenly believe that prehistoric sexual behavior reflected modern cultural standards. 2. Agriculture, which introduced the concept of private property, led to societal enforcement of relationships comprised of men with one or more wives. 3. Scientists frequently overlook the mating practices of bonobos, a close primate relative, when hypothesizing about the evolution of human sexuality. 4. Religious and scientific institutions have historically claimed that women lack sexual appetites. Simultaneously, these organizations have worked to suppress female sexuality. 5. Humanity's evolutionary predilection for group sex is reflected both in human anatomy and in the arousal patterns experienced by men and women. 6. teamwork and generosity can be just as advantageous to a species' development as selfishness and greed. 7. While patriarchal societies often subjugate women, matriarchal communities tend to improve the livelihood and autonomy experienced by men. 8. The widespread practice of monogamy may be changing the anatomy of modern humans.
If you like this video, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Visit Instaread.co to get more insights from this and thousands of other books. Use the code YouTube to get a discount on your subscription.